Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown and Dunkirk, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives, to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
I'm over here. Over here. Well, we're off and running. I can see that. Good morning, everybody. I'm Doc Hamels, and welcome to Chautauqua Sunrise. I'm going to do my very best to talk today because I have been hit by the seasonal allergies. I think last week every tree in Chautauqua County bloomed or had pollen blowing in my face, and so you can hear it kind of a rasp in there. Hope you're doing well. Justin, it's raining, so it must be Saturday. Yeah. I kid you not. I will bet you 80% of the Saturdays since spring, it's rained on every Saturday, hasn't it? Just about. Rain or snow. Anyways, I hope you all are doing well. We've got a great show in store for you, so please stick around. It is a live show, and as you know, you can always give us a call at 716-753-5225. See that how we do that? It's just like the telethon. And throughout the week, if you have an announcement or something you want to share, you can email us at chautauquasunrise@gmail.com. If you do call, why would you want to call? You may have a question for me, for my guest. You may have an announcement. For instance, a chicken barbecue at such and such a place for a fundraiser somewhere doing some good in the world. I don't know. But we're happy to have that. If you're too shy to talk to me live, the guys will write it down on a piece of paper, bring it all the way into the studio here, and then I'll announce it for you, okay? So please, it's free of charge, and we are more than happy to do that. All right. If you are listening in the afternoon at Tuesdays at 1 o'clock on WRFA 107.9, low power to the people, thanks for joining us. I think you'll hear some voices today that maybe you'll recognize from the Jamestown area, okay? If you're streaming with us around the world, good afternoon, good evening. What did we decide? It's in Australia is already Sunday? What did we decide? Or it's midnight? Or we tried to figure out the math. It's that new math. We can't figure it out yet. Anyways, we do know that people do watch us anywhere in the world, and we're happy that you could join us as well. Okay. Well, a few things to share with you. I think I covered all the good stuff I'm supposed to. I am told that the Mayville area will have their annual parade. I don't know how many years they've been doing it, but for like ever. And they took a little break during the pandemic, and I understand they're going to have it again this year. And guess who's going to be there? Access Chautauqua, and that's our studio crew. And the show is Destination Chautauqua, and the director of that is Chris Burt. And he asked me to go over to his studio, which really means just go on the other side of the room. And we will be live out on the streets if the weather permits. And we're going to be narrating the show as I've done like 8 years already, or maybe more, I don't know. Rick Mascaro, my sidekick, will be with me again. I already talked with him. And we have a great time having fun and picking on each other and talking to you over the sirens of the fire trucks and commenting on everybody that walks by. So it's a lot of fun. So 4th of July, that will be live. And I think we're going to be in front of the Mayville Library. And Just, you know that for sure or not?
No, but I'm guessing.
It's probably where we'll be. They're very kind to us and allow us to set up our equipment there. So 4th of July, it's a Monday. All right. Let's see what else is coming up here. Okay, this is an announcement about Becky's new car. All right, now for those of you that may not be familiar with this was a play that was put together in the Lakeshore Center for the Arts, and it ran last weekend for 2 out of the 3 nights, but for unforeseen reasons, it had to be postponed. So let's pop that poster up, Jeff. There we go. Somebody in the side there, he looks familiar. I'm in part of the cast, and we're supposed to run it this weekend, and of course that got postponed. But the good news is we're going to get together on Zoom tomorrow, and because the cast is all from all over the county, and we're going to try to find another weekend that we're going to run the show for you. And this has nothing to do with me personally, but I've heard from a number of sources that people love the show. It's a comedy. It's got some heavy. What's the word I want to say? Makes you think a lot, anyways, about midlife crises and things like that. But it's a lot of fun, and I am just absolutely humbled to be working with such a cool crew, such experience. I'm 70 years old. This is my first real acting part. I've done little bits and pieces, and of course, I've been on stage forever as a musician, but to actually learn lines and move around the stage, it was quite an experience. So anyways, do stay tuned. If you are ticket holders and you're watching right now, the production crew will get a hold of you and reschedule with you because they have your phone numbers and all that stuff. So anyways, Becky's new car will be running again. I just don't know when. I'm guessing probably maybe 2-3 weeks out from now. We got to kind of retool and figure out what we're doing. It was a lot of fun. Okay, let's see. It's that time of year finally where the venues are opening up and there's live music, and I know just being a musician, I know that different places throughout the county, down into Pennsylvania and so forth, get out, enjoy Chautauqua County, get out and hear some live music, or just go to the wineries, the breweries, everything, just the lakes, there's bike riding, kayaking, gosh, it's a horseback riding, you name it, we've got it in this county. So if you're sitting around doing nothing, well, it's on you. Just if you're concerned about COVID, do the precautions, wear a mask or whatever. Just get out of the house. I know a lot of people have been cooped up forever, and good stuff. And speaking along those lines, I do this as total self-serving. This afternoon, this evening, over at the Big Inlet Brewing, my band, the Midnight Growlers, it's not my band, I'm in the band, we're going to be opening for the Probables, and if you're not familiar with them, it's Steve Johnson and company, and they're a pretty big regional band, and we're going to be playing from 5 to 6, opening for them, and then they're going to take it from there. So that's over in Mayville, and so I hope you enjoy that. All right, let's see here, what else we got? Okay, I want to share some announcements that I got here in the mail. So let's start. There's a place in Westfield at the YWCA called Genres, and we had folks hear about that, and they wanted you to know the following. They are having the Meet the Authors. All right, the Genres Authors Guild and Patterson Library present Meet the Authors Day Book Fair, noon to 4 p.m. on June 4th, and that's a Saturday. And that's located at 40 North Portage Street in Westfield. Meet and greet your local authors for signings, readings, and one-on-one chats. They are all eager to speak with you about books, writing, how they came to become authors, anything and everything you ever wanted to know. Okay, they have children's, young adult, fantasy, nonfiction, sci-fi, self-help, mystery, graphic novels, romance books, and swag and free gifts. Pretty cool. Many of the authors that are going to be there have been on my show, so I highly encourage you to check it out and meet the people behind the books. It's a lot of fun. Okay, this next one is the 8th Annual Hope and Healing Conference of Western New York, which will be in person this year at the State University of New York at Fredonia. This year's keynote speaker is Dr. Matt Ballas, I'm not saying it, I hope I said it right. Dr. Ballas has a PhD in clinical psychology with a subspecialty in clinical neuropsychology. The study of the brain and behavior. Dr. Ballas is also a stand-up comedian. His funny, engaging, and informative presentation will focus on the science of coping with stress and managing emotions using healthy lifestyles in various activities. In addition to the keynote speaker, the conference will include the following. There'll be Fred Talks, Partnering for Prevention panel, Treatment is Available panel, A Recovery is Possible panel, Connection Across the Continuum for Hope in Healing brainstorm. The event includes a $15 charge to cover the cost of lunch for the day. That's nothing. If you're interested, this is a long one. It's all one word, hopeandhealingconference.com for more information. Okay? Sounds really good. And with all the stressors that you are going through, don't tell me you're not. We all are. And every time you turn on the TV, it gets worse. So either stop watching TV or go to this conference. One of the two. Okay? All right. I was just talking about live music. Listen to this. This is so cool. The Mayville Chautauqua Community Chamber announces Summer Concert Series. All right. It's a long one. Here we go. They'll be offering a full 8-week season for the Entertainment in the Park Summer Concert for this year. Beginning Thursday, July 7th, with an opening performance by local native and perennial favorite Jackson Rahm. Concerts will be held from 6:30 to 8:30 each Thursday through August 26th in the gazebo at Mayville Lakeside Park, just down the street from here. In case of rain, they will be moved to the adjacent community building. So there is no excuse. If it's raining, you go indoors. The music and the show will go on. On opening night, a new local food truck will celebrate its grand opening, Best of Buffalo by Byron. Say that 10 times fast, Justin. Best of Buffalo by Byron. No. Chicken. Will offer some delicious food for sale and will participate weekly along with Franklin's honey and apples. Food trucks are really getting popular these days. Concerts are free to attend. They're free to attend. Please bring a lawn chair for seating. During each performance, guests can look forward to a great music, a fun atmosphere, vendors, a 50-50 raffle, a children's area, and a couple of sets of cornhole boards to play on. Okay, so here we go. Week 1, July 7th, Jackson Rahm. July 14th, Smokehouse. July 21, Ion Sky. The 28th of July, No Consensus. August 4th, the Rustic Ramblers. They've been around a long time. August 11th, Midnight Growlers. Who could that be? August 18th, Some Kind of Trouble. That's the Pat Cook and band. And August 25th, the Interstate Daydream. Some of these bands I've known for years, some are new. If you're interested and want more information, give them a call at 269-4129. All right, let's go to Reg Linnea. All right, we got some movies. The Northman to show at the Reg Linnea. From visionary director Robert Eggers, The Vivitch and The Lighthouse, those were some of his projects, comes to Northman Wednesday, June 1 at 7 p.m. An action-filled epic that follows a young Viking, Prince, on his quest to avenge his father's murder. Oh boy, here we go with the long names. The all cast includes Alexander Skarsgård, Nicole Kidman, that was easy, Claes Bang, Anya Taylor-Joy, Ethan Hawke, Bjork, I don't know how to say that, B-J-O-R-K with the umlaut over the O, and William Dafoe. The Northman is rated R and is 137 minutes long. Then, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent to show at the Reg. Nicolas Cage stars as... It stops. He's in this action comedy. It's going to be shown May 20. It's already done. That's an old one. Why is that still there? All right. Upcoming at the Reg include the historical crime comedy The Duke, which will be shown on June 8th at 7. The 20th anniversary showing of My Big Fat Greek Wedding. That's kind of fun to watch that one. I saw that one on June 15th. And 2 showings of the animated film The Bad Guys on June 17th. And sensory-friendly screening Saturday, June 18th. Movies at the Reg are sponsored by the Silver Tree Seniors of Jamestown. Tickets at the movies are $7 for movies, $6 for family films, and an additional $1 theater restoration fee is added. Okay, and if you want tickets, you can give them a call at 484-7070 or go to the box office on Mondays and Fridays from 12 to 5 and Wednesdays from 12 to 8. Okay, and that's at the Reg Linnea. So lots of things to do. Okay, and finally, this is just my take on things these days. I don't normally do this, but I've been really troubled by what's been happening. I'm from Buffalo originally. A lot of people don't know that. And growing up in Buffalo, it's had its ups and downs. And I am just heartbroken over the shooting that took place recently. That was my hometown. And to see what's going on up there, it's going on in so many other parts of the country. Then the shootings in Texas. I was a teacher, administrator, and a superintendent. I was just crushed, just absolutely crushed to see that. I don't have the answers, but I can tell you there is an answer out there, and people got to get together on this. We've got angry young men out there destroying the world. And I say angry young men because having done a lot of research in my own field of special education, dealing with behavioral disorders, dealing like 40 years in education, I've seen this trend line that's been taking place. And if you look at the individuals that have been involved with many of these shootings, that's what they are. They're from their late teens to maybe early 30s, somewhere in there. So what's the takeaway for me to you? And this is the takeaway. We may not be in the position to outlaw anything. We may not be in the position to change legislation, but we can vote people in that will make those decisions. We can vote people in that are thoughtful, that hopefully can find some answers. And the other piece, which is most important, is keep your eyes open. Open your mouth, report it. If you see something that doesn't look right, it's probably not right. And what's the problem if you're wrong? You're wrong. You misunderstood it. But if you see something on the internet, on Facebook, you hear something within your own community, report it to the police. Let them check it out. Some of these things could have been nipped in the bud, and they are every day in other areas. But please, let's gather together and not point fingers. Let's not try to say, well, we should do this or we should do that. Work together. And that's all I have to say on that. We have a public service announcement, and we'll be right back.
I love my sister. My heart doesn't see race.
Love is love.
And we're back. I had one of my guests on a while back, and we talked, and I said, you need to come back. And evidently she liked it enough to come back, so I want to welcome back Emily Van Way, who has been with Prevention Works.
Yes.
And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we have Steve Cobb, who's here, and Linnea Carlson, who I've known for, 5-6 years, maybe longer. I don't even know how long it's been. Anyways, and we're going to be talking about your Pride Festival and a bunch of other things, right?
Yes.
All right. So let's start with Emily. All right, and then we'll bounce around. Emily, you're with Prevention Works, and what's your role there?
So I am the Prevention Education Coordinator as well as the LGBTQ liaison at Prevention Works.
And we talked about this last time as your liaison role, and what does that mean?
Really what it means is that I connect the community with the available resources in our community in Chautauqua County to make sure that, our queer folk are being connected to the mental health services that they need, that they're getting the education that they need, that we are reinforcing positive coping skills for our youth and our LGBTQ community at large. And really just bringing the community together so that we can support our community here in Chautauqua County.
How long have you been in that role?
I have been in this role since February of 2020, so I was very lucky enough to start 1 month before COVID.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I still remember hearing the whole
Yes.
world shut down in March there. That's pretty scary. Okay. I got more questions for you, and we'll come back. Okay. Steve Cobb, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm Stephen Cobb. I'm the Executive Director of the Mental Health Association in Chautauqua County. So our focus is supporting people and families in Chautauqua County who experience mental health challenges and substance use disorders. So
This is a county office?
no, we are a community-based nonprofit.
Oh, okay.
So what's kind of unique about us too is that we're not a clinic. We don't provide direct clinical services. We work on the peer model, which is basically the idea that people who have recovered from mental health challenges and substance use disorders can be a tremendous asset to people who are in the middle of something that is a challenge for them, and to help them get connected to resources and support for their recovery process.
Where are you located?
We have an office in Jamestown on 31 Water Street in the Gateway Center.
Okay.
We share space with St. Susan's Center.
I know
down
exactly
there,
where that is,
and
yeah.
we're around the back of the building. We got a nice little view of the Chautauqua River back there and the turtles back there. And then we also have office in Dunkirk too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we're out in the community a lot. So our staff are in the Chautauqua County Jail, working with folks who have
Sure.
mental health and addiction issues.
Yeah.
We're in family court. We're in the treatment courts in Dunkirk and Jamestown. We're in UPMC Hospital. And in the clinics in Dunkirk and Jamestown also.
So how long have you been with them?
Been with the MHA about 10 and a half years now. So.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Are you local?
Originally, so I grew up here. 18, I moved to New York City to go to college, and I stayed there for about 26 years, and then moved back.
And survived.
And survived, and then moved back to Jamestown about 12 years ago.
Okay, great.
Yeah, good to be back and part of the community.
Linnea, I always see you for like 10 seconds at a time over the years. She'll say, you got everything? Yes. You got this? You got wire?
I'm always running around.
Always running around at the farmer's market. And I know you've hired myself and Will Russell a number of times over the years. So I know you work for the city. Is that true? What do you do?
No, I mean, we are, a city event, I guess, but we are actually a program. The Jamestown Public Market is a program of St. Luke's Episcopal Church.
Okay.
And so we are a community-based organization that is focused on building Jamestown's food system. And we do that in a variety of ways, the biggest being the Jamestown Public Market that is every Saturday in the summer into fall. And so we're opening June 11th alongside the Jamestown Pride Festival. And then we will run every Saturday from 10 to 2. And last year, the city worked with us so graciously to allow us to relocate to 3rd Street. So we are along 3rd Street between North Main and Cherry. And it's really provided space for the market to expand and double the number of vendors we have and just be more accessible to the community.
Where was I? On second?
We were on Cherry.
Okay.
So right there, we were right around the corner, but now
Okay.
we're on flat land, and it's very
Oh,
nice.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I would see
Yeah.
people above us, like you can see their feet were on the
Yeah,
stairs.
yeah.
It's kind of weird,
It
actually.
was. So
Cool.
we're excited.
So how long have you been involved with the public market? It's been a while.
It has, yeah. I've been the director since 2018.
Okay, so 4 years anyways, going on 5 years. Okay, so are you local from the area?
Yes, yeah. I grew up in Frewsburg, but
A Frewsburger.
I'm a Frewsburger. But my dad lives in Jamestown, and I would stay with him several times a week, and so I consider Jamestown my home, Chautauqua County my home.
Absolutely.
Went to Fredonia, and never left, and I love it. I'm
Yeah.
so happy to be here and be a part of the building the community. So
Well, great. I'm glad to have you here.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, so let's start out with what the Pride Festival is about. So I'm going to throw that out, and I'll let you guys bounce it through. So let's start with Emily.
Yeah, well, really, the Pride Festival is about bringing the community together and to celebrate, just the people in our community, and to show the community that there is a positive, safe space for all individuals. It's not just for the LGBTQ community. We really want to make it family friendly as well. So, we can have our family members, our allies come together to, just celebrate the diversity and, see what services, organizations are available. We'll have a lot of different organizations tabling at the event, so we can see what's here in our community and what's available for you.
Okay, so I heard you say a safe place. Okay, why is it we need to provide a safe place?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's been an issue.
I mean, it can be for a lot of queer folk, a lot of times, LGBTQ individuals can feel very isolated. A lot of times there's not really one central place or a location where people can come and have, just connections and interactions with people who might be going through similar things that they are, and just to have a space where you can truly just be yourself and not have to worry about what is this person going to think of me? Am I too much? Am I, this or that? It's just a place where you can just show up, be you, and not have to worry about anything else.
This is 2022.
Yes.
Okay. Why are we just now having to create safe places?
That is a very good question.
Okay.
I wish I had an answer for you.
Well, I said earlier that I grew up in Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo, when I was going to Buff State, I mean, I'm just going to throw out some terms and so forth, but I mean, women's liberation, Roe versus the abortion laws, I just Black Matters, Black Lives Matter. I mean, all this stuff we were talking about back in the 60s and 70s, and I thought we had it figured out. Okay, you say the queer community, we used to call it the gay community. I don't know where that transition took place, but it was there. It wasn't like a big deal, but now everything seems to be a big deal. Why?
I think a lot of it is like sometimes, the topics and the issues you might hear about, a lot of times it's a lot deeper than you really think about at first, because the LGBTQ community is so diverse. It is sexuality, it is gender, but then you also have multiple intersecting identities as well. Like you talked about women's liberation, you talked about Black Lives Matter. That's not two separate things.
Right.
People can be queer and they can be a person of color. They can be queer and a woman. You
Right.
know, and when you have all of those identities intersecting into one person, it creates a unique experience for that person. It's not, oh, I have, the struggles of being a person of color, and then here's a hard line, and the struggles of being queer.
Right.
It intersects into a very unique experience of the world. And so, there's not always one right approach or, one right, this is how it's supposed to be. It's a big matter. It's not black and white. There's a lot of gray area.
People say to me, do I do preparation for each show? I do a lot of thinking before I bring my guest on. And I'm going to ask you a hard question. And it's not the question you think I'm going to ask, I think. Of course, I don't know what you think I'm going to ask. But anyways, but it was like, who decided that the word queer is now the in word? Did somebody like up on a mountainside today, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Queer was not a word that we wanted to use when we were kids.
No.
Gay was sort of like, but queer was like, no way. And now it's like, I see Queer Eye, TV shows and things like that. So anybody can jump on that. I don't care.
So it's funny you say that, because I grew up here in Chautauqua County, and when I was in high school, I began to realize I was gay. And if I heard the word queer, it usually meant a punch was about to follow.
Exactly.
It was a very derogatory.
Yeah.
Recently, I don't know if I can put an actual time to it, but recently our community has embraced the word queer. So I still sometimes have to develop some comfort before I say it, because when I was growing up, that was not a term I wanted to use to identify myself. I was comfortable with calling myself a gay man, but I think we've embraced the term queer to kind of empower it, the word, in a positive way, too. I think strength comes from that. And I also think, too, we've embraced, we get caught up in all the initials sometimes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Which are...
Emily had to figure this all out for me last time, and I thought there's more today. I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, but I think we've embraced the word queer to it's a non-gender specific word that can kind of encompass all of us, where we are on that spectrum.
Yeah.
You know, so
I
to
like
speak.
that. It's a spectrum, and along the ruler is over here, you're over here, but it's
everything in between, that gray area.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And even when I grew up as a kid within the what we call now the queer community, you were gay, or you were lesbian, or you were bisexual.
Pretty much it. Yeah.
And that was it. So I've had to understand and have a relationship with these terms and get to know people. Because I was in that. You're either gay, or you're a lesbian.
That's what I'm saying. In Buffalo,
or
it
you're
was,
straight.
it was no big deal. We had it figured out.
I even remember as a kid, somebody who identified as bi. I don't know if I understood that. I've grown to understand by talking to people.
I feel better because I'm seeing people like, I don't understand this at all.
But that goes back to making those connections. You say you understand those terms by meeting people and talking to them and making those connections, and that's a big part about the Jamestown Pride Festival. It's an area that's another important part about coming together and meeting different people who have different identities, connecting with people who you wouldn't normally connect with, so that you can expand your experiences and learn and take in that knowledge and begin to understand some things you might not have understood beforehand.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure I got the letters in the correct order, but then when I looked on the internet, there were more letters. So help me. All right, so I'm just going to say them all, and then I wanted to find them because, again, I want to share information with the people on the other side of the TV screen right now. Okay, so there's LGBTQ. Now I see IA plus. Did I got that right?
Sure do.
All right. So anybody, let's just start. L.
Lesbian.
Okay. And that's female.
Someone who identifies as a woman is attracted to other people who identify as a woman.
G.
Gay.
Which is male.
Yes.
But not female. See, when I was growing up, gay was gay. I mean, it was lesbian or men or whatever. It was just. Right. So that's what I'm saying is I'm trying to sort this out. But at the same time, they're all queer.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, if you think about it, when we're talking about lesbian, gay, bisexual, that's talking about a sexual orientation. This is the people that you would fall in love with or want to be romantically involved in. When we're talking about the T, transgender, really what that means is when your sex assigned at birth or when the doctor says you're either a boy or a girl is different from the gender identity you identify with now. Okay.
So let's expand a little bit. So the T stands for transgender.
Yes.
And you're born with, let's example, male genitalia. But as you're growing up, you identify female.
Or some other way, yes, non-binary, maybe.
You would do that to me, wouldn't you?
Sure would.
Something other than the above.
Yes.
Okay, so it's an identification issue.
So
not an issue, it's an identification.
That's gender.
Yeah.
So if you think about sexual orientation, that's like our heart. When we think about the T, it's like kind of like our brain, our psychology inside of our head, like who we think of ourselves as a person.
Okay.
The T has to do with us as a person. The LGB has to do with the other people who we're attracted to.
Okay. All right. Q.
And that's the queer word we were talking about.
So why is that even in there anymore? We just take that out.
Well, the cool thing about the word queer is that it's kind of the whole thing, It's the heart and the brain.
Okay.
And so, I have some personal experience with this label too, because there is a time where, queer is a much larger box, right? When we're talking about lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual, you're putting yourself into a very specific box. But when you have this term queer, it's talking about the whole thing. Right. And so it's a broader label where, I might not know if gay feels comfortable, if bi feels comfortable, if, trans feels comfortable, but I know that I'm queer, and I don't have to put myself into a tiny little box.
Hold on. If you're not queer, what are you?
I would say you could either be cisgender, which means when your sex assigned at birth, doctor says you're either a boy or girl, matches up with your gender identity, so your brain, or heterosexual.
Okay. You see what I'm doing? I'm defining terms here for everybody.
Yes.
Because my show is education in many ways. All right. Where am I?
And,
So-
I'm just going to
Go
throw
for it,
in
go
there
for it.
that if ask these questions.
Yes.
You know, just like you're asking us, if you're someone out there who's
I'm the
listening,
guy in the crowd
and-
that always asks the
and
hard
ask
questions.
questions
important.
because that's how we get to know each other, and that's how
Absolutely.
we get to understand each other. And I don't, as a white man, I don't know the experiences of someone who is black, what that's like growing up
Right.
in the community. How is it different? I have to ask questions
Different
to
conversation.
understand, and it's the same way for those of us in the career. Ask us questions.
Yes, and then-
we will answer them.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that because growing up as an ally, I identify as a cis straight woman, heterosexual female. I internally wasn't dealing with a lot of those issues of my identity, but experienced that from the community that I grew up in that was not queer friendly, and watching loved ones who had to go through
Right.
this journey. And I was very similar to Stephen when I grew up as a straight person. It's like, well, there's gay and there's straight. And then once I got to high school, then I learned about bisexual, and I was like, what is that? Like, I don't know what's happening here.
Where'd that come from?
And then, then I get to college and I meet individuals who identify as pansexual. I'm going to throw another one out there for you.
There's no P in that. That doesn't exist.
And so it is all
Pansexual.
about learning, and it can be confusing and it can be intimidating. I know I don't want to ever insult anybody,
Right.
but I want to learn.
Right.
And it's been an honor to be on the Pride Committee with so many wonderful community members who identify in all different ways,
Right.
so that just to learn. And I don't think you're ever going to get it 100% right because each individual identifies and has a different experience. And so just have compassion and ask questions and be willing to listen and open your mind.
Here you go.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing right now.
It is.
Okay. And I know it's, I don't want to be too general here, but I would say it's a generational thing. I think the generation that came before me, my parents would struggle with this terribly. And I think it's their upbringing, it's just their values that they grew up with. And then my generation, we were the boomers, we were like all over the place. I mean, and then I'm not sure in the generation that came after me, I don't know where they're at. Where are they?
It's definitely coming along, yeah. It's, I think especially with social media and just, people's ability to research and write from their phones so easily, people are younger and younger learning about these terms, and they're able to understand themselves and discover their identities a lot sooner because they have that information, This is something that we're not taught in schools. We're not taught about these things.
Oh, no.
And so a lot of times what happens is, you have these feelings going on inside, but you don't have the words to describe these feelings, And so with the next generation, they are becoming more and more accepting. We still have work to go because there's still some people who, do have those values who, maybe they're not really with it or they don't really understand. Maybe they don't have the exposure. We are in a rural county, so, there still are some youth who, might not be very accepting, but I am seeing more and more youth who are very accepting and understanding.
Right, great. Steve, I'll throw this question to you, and Emily's been suggesting it, and I heard a little bit from Linnea, is that people may be struggling with their identity, and that creates angst, and they can't talk about it with their parents. So from the mental health aspect, what do you have to offer folks?
Yeah, that's a great question. And what's exciting about this is that our whole festival actually grew out of a support group that we had at the MHA to support people in our community who identified as being part of the queer community. So we that group was just a general support group. and the festival grew out of that. But I really see, we so often look at mental health, we look at what's wrong with people. We look at the diagnosis, we look at the sickness, and I know as someone who works in the mental health field, when we shift that focus to the wellness, what supports you before you get to the sickness, that's a win for everyone. And that's what, as a community-based mental health organization, that's a big part of what we can do. A traditional clinic or someplace like that, they can't do that because they're reimbursed with insurance for focusing on what's wrong. So it comes to organizations like us that can focus on the wellness part, and we do that by ourselves and with partners like Prevention Works and I would argue the community or the public market too, because if you're not eating right and you're not eating healthy food, that doesn't support mental wellness. So we really see this as an expansion of wellness in our community and supporting people in dealing with those stressors. And first and foremost, to have a good mental wellness, you need to feel safe in your community. You need to feel a part of, and you need to feel that you can engage and receive all those benefits that are in our community. And that's why I think events like this are so important. When I first left this area and went to New York City, that first time I went to that Pride Festival in New York City, it was transformative to my mental health, to my wellness, and to be able to bring something as exciting as this to a small city and a small rural community is it supports our community in so many positive ways.
Let's hold that thought.
Yeah.
We're going to come back, talk about the festival in a minute, but we have a phone call.
Sure.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Doc. This is Linda Spalding.
Hi, Lynn.
Good morning, panelists. This is a very fascinating presentation, and thank you for panelists for attending to the mental health and stability of our community. This is something that is needed everywhere, and congratulations for your work. Jack, I'd like to talk about a couple things if I have time.
Yeah,
May I?
sure.
First of all, Doc, you said, why are we giving attention to this now? Remember when we were in school in Buffalo, it was discussed, but why, why the big deal?
Deja vu, here we go.
Okay. I have an idea. I think it's because then people were hiding. They didn't reveal their identity to many people. And so because of this, only a small circle of friends were aware of the personal lives of these individuals. So I think that might be why, because people are coming out and expressing their identities. You think that might be it?
I think you're right. Okay.
And I have another comment that I'd like to make. When I was growing up, I was always taught never to call a gay person what we call gay queer. It was an insult to them. You never did that. That was very improper. So I find it interesting that you're using that term now. Why have you changed?
Okay. That was sort of like, that's a follow-up to my follow-up.
Yeah.
So why? Why?
I think, and this is me personally as someone who's about to be 25 in a week. So,
Listen to you brag.
I'm 5 years away from 30. I have to. So, it's kind of like about reclaiming that, as a word that was so often used against us in a form of hate. It's about taking that word and saying, you know what? I am queer and I'm proud of that. And I'm not going to let you use this word against that because this is something that's awesome and amazing and that I'm proud of. It's about taking that word and saying, this is my word and I'm going to be proud of it. I'm going to hold it with confidence and I'm going to use it because when you're confident in that term, and you're proud of it and,
you can't really use it against me because I'm proud of this. And yes, I'm queer. And yes, I am confident and I love myself and who I am. And that's kind of just from my personal
You don't
experience.
have strong beliefs on this, do you?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I see that and I appreciate it. But now I have one more question on that topic. How does your community, your queer community, react to that? What is it positive or negative, or what is their response?
Depends on the person, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think it depends on the person.
Depends on the person. I think it's generational too. I am in my early 50s, and folks from the queer community in my age, I don't think we're as comfortable with that term, or
Yeah, you were referencing
we
that
have to
a while ago.
develop that comfort or get used to the word. Folks of Emily's time, that generation, I think in general, they embrace that term.
Yes.
And they actually are more comfortable with it. So, but when I'm with other friends from the community, we sometimes joke, about using the term queer. We're all going, okay, we got to get used to it, So, so I think it's different from group to group, but
Good point.
I think there's some consensus that this is a word that we've used to empower ourselves, but that it also can apply to a lot of people.
I see. Well, thank you. Well, nature is very diversified.
Yeah.
Isn't she?
Well,
Yeah.
thank you very much. This has been a very interesting, fascinating presentation. Thank you, and have a great weekend. And
Yeah, you
Memorial
too,
Day
then.
weekend.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Good questions.
Great.
Healthy community. I'm a part of an organization called the Chautauqua Leadership Network. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And I've been with them for over 25 years. And one of the things that they stressed was developing a healthy community. And I think that's what we're talking about here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So everybody feels safe, regardless of whatever.
Yeah.
But yet, watch TV. Asians are being singled out. The blacks have been singled out. When I was growing up, I'm half Sicilian. The Dagos we used to be referred to were singled out. The Polish, whatever. What's that all about? And that's what I'm saying. It's like I feel like I'm going back to my childhood where we were picking on each other. There's always a bully on the street. So
I think that society is ever evolving for good or for bad sometimes. And I know that some people feel strongly that we are regressing as a society. I don't feel that way. I feel that, we need community more than ever. I think that that's really what we've lost. I think with the beauty of social media and the beauty of technology, you can find your community, but then sometimes you can also be very isolated from other communities who might be different than you are. And so I think that it's important, as Stephen and Emily have mentioned, to have a space like the Pride Festival where we can interact in person and we can come together as a community who all want the best for our community, and to learn from one another and share with one another. And what I'm so excited about personally, working with the Pride Festival, with the market, is that, historically farmers markets have been viewed either because they truly are, or there's this perception that they're very elitist, they're very white, they're not welcoming to the other. And that's something that we at the public market really want to change, is that, our view is that everyone eats, or we hope that they do, and so we all have that in common. And again, we all want a healthy community. So if the market can be a place where everyone, no matter their identity or gender or color, can come and feel safe and welcoming, that's what we want. And so it's just exciting to have these other events that are happening downtown that embody that same mission, to work together. And so to your question, what's going on, I think it's just what's always been going on in the world, is that there are people who are, unfortunately, are ignorant and are not exposed to certain things. And the more we can build spaces for positive community, the more we can influence those more negative parts of society for the better.
Very well said.
Yeah.
Thank you. I had a thought and it's now gone. So let's talk about the actual event. This is going to tell me about the dates, where it's going to be held, and what's going to be involved. So I open it up to you guys.
You want to start off with Friday?
Yeah.
All right,
So
Friday.
this is our great poster. There it is.
Second annual.
Second annual Jamestown Pride Festival. Last year we just did activities on Saturday. We're real happy this year to be able to add something on Friday. So we're starting Friday afternoon at 5:30 in downtown Jamestown with a slow roll.
All right.
Which is, we're partnering with Pearl City Cycle Company, and they're planning that for us. That's going to be a 5 to 7 mile ride through Jamestown. So start at Winter Garden Plaza and end at Sneakers, which is on Harrison Street. And at that point, there'll be a little period to rest, of course, and then at 9 p.m. on Friday, we are having a burlesque show at Sneakers by the local burlesque troupe called Laced Up Ladies. So that is our one event that's probably PG rated because it is a burlesque show. All of our other events are family friendly, where children would be welcome all the way up to grandma and grandpa. So that's starting us off on Friday.
Yeah.
Emily, you want to talk about Saturday?
Yeah, so on Saturday, we're going to start off at 8:30, and we'll have a yoga session by Andrea DeMaio. She's a very inclusive person. She uses gender-neutral language in her practices, inclusive to all different body types and gender identities and in people in general. So she is awesome. She'll be providing the yoga session at the National Comedy Center Park, right behind the National Comedy Center. And then at 9:30, we will have a Pride flag raising ceremony right at City Hall in downtown Jamestown.
And the Pride flag is the multiple colors, the rainbow?
Yes, it's the Progress Pride flag, so that's where you have the colors of the rainbow, but then you also have the triangle in the middle with the blue, pink, and white stripe for those are the colors that represent transgender folk. And then also it has the brown and black stripe representing people of color as well.
Nice.
So that will be the flag that we will raise. We'll have a few speakers, including a youth speaker, so that's pretty awesome that we'll have a youth presenting the flag and giving a little speech. We'll have our Pride coordinator speak, and also the mayor too, Eddie Sunquist. So that'll be the flag raising ceremony.
And that's Tracy Center?
Yes.
Rather City Hall?
Yep.
Tracy
Yep.
Plaza.
Plaza,
Yep.
I don't know what it's called. I make things up, as you can tell. I live in Ripley. I don't know the other side very much. But I know where it is. I can drive there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tracy Plaza.
Yep. Yeah, and then at 10, we will have the Pride Market, which will be in collaboration with the Jamestown Public Market, but it's just going to be one big, beautiful event.
What will make it different than the usual market?
Yeah, so I think what I'm most excited about personally, but what's going to make it a little bit different is we will have our traditional farmers market vendors, so you can come and get all your seasonal produce. Strawberries are finally in season, which I'm very excited about. And we always love to say eat a rainbow, and we love market because it's just so colorful and beautiful. But so we'll have our traditional farmers market vendors and artisans, but we're also going to be having 2 food trucks. So Over the Rainbow, which is a food truck from I believe the Brockton area, will be in attendance.
What's their food?
They do a lot of really cool things. I know they've had like lobster rolls before in the past. They do really good sandwiches. They're amazing, and their truck is Wizard of Oz themed, which is
that's cool.
amazing.
Their lobster rolls are great.
They're so good.
Don't tell my wife. Maine, we go to Maine every year. Oh,
They're
it's not
just so good. And they're also very supportive of the queer community.
Yeah.
And then we have Siri Thai Cuisine, which is based out of Dunkirk. They are also very supportive of the queer community.
They've been there right along, though, I think.
They've been to market before,
Because
yeah.
I remember playing it, I was looking at the Thai food
Yep,
truck.
so they have Thai food. And then we...
Is it spicy?
You can get, it depends what you want.
You tell them.
Yeah. And then we will be covering a second block just for this event that will be from North Main to Pine along 3rd, and we'll have some additional vendors as well as DJ and live music. And then along North Main between 3rd and 4th, we are going to be having our, what's my favorite part of the event is the community organization. So we're going to have a ton of local nonprofits and different service organizations.
So people have their tables set up.
Correct.
You can talk about whatever the topic is they offer.
Yeah, any services that you might need in the community. And again, it's right in line with creating us more safe spaces to share with the community, different organizations that they can go to or be a part of. Evergreen Health, who's our presenting sponsor, will also be there.
Steve, is your organization going to be there?
Yes, we will. The Mental Health Association.
Prevention.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
prevention work. Yeah.
Yep. So lots of exciting.
So
things
who's the
going
live
on
music?
that.
It's not me. Who is it?
Did
Did I mention it wasn't me?
Yeah.
No.
So we have DJ Little Italy who will be performing there.
Okay.
They're a DJ from the Buffalo area.
Cool.
And then we also, so later on in the evening, we do have a drag performance by The Suburbia with Islea and Daphne Always, and they are from the Brooklyn area. So
Oh,
they will
boy.
be performing, they will be performing to a live band, which is very cool. The live band is actually from this area, and they're in Brooklyn, so they've been rehearsing over Zoom.
So who's the
So-
live
Super
band?
exciting.
Yes, who's the live band? Who do we got? It was kind of a modge podge of people.
Yeah, Gavin Paternini
Oh, I know
is
Gavin,
in it,
yeah.
and our friend who owns Phoenix Rising, her used to.
Oh, Scott.
And then there's one other one. I didn't put
He's a
together
drummer.
the band, so
I know.
He's a drummer.
Yeah.
I feel
So some really great local artists backing up the
Okay.
band. So
They'll have
yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Oh, they're Cold
Mark.
Lazarus. That was. They were a lot of them were Cold
Yes,
Lazarus.
a lot of them were
Okay.
Cold
Okay.
Lazarus.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're fabulous.
Yeah. Thank you for helping us through that.
Scarpoletti.
Yeah, Mark
Yes,
Scapoletti.
Marco
yes.
Scapoletti.
I
Yeah,
knew it
that's
was
what
coming.
it
It
is.
was
That
coming.
is.
Sorry about that, Margo. Very cool.
Yeah, and then we're ending it on Sunday with a Pride service at St. Luke's Episcopal Church.
And what would be a pride service? I mean, what does that mean?
So it's just a general. So it's an ecumenical service, so it's not going to be a pure Episcopal service.
Right.
So just a place to celebrate and be aware of those spiritual elements that unite us as a community.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just have to throw in there, none of this would be possible without our sponsors. We've had some great sponsors.
Go for it.
Evergreen Health, the Jamestown Public Market, the Mental Health Association where I work, Nestle Purina in Dunkirk, Hope Chautauqua, the Schultz Auto Group, the Rise Journey, and the Chautauqua Center. So
Wow,
they've
nice.
really made this all possible for us.
We're down to 1 minute and 9 seconds. So I'm going to start with Linnea and work our way right over. So what do you want to tell people?
Just come.
It's free.
Whether we hope that the queer community can feel comfortable in being themselves at market, but we also invite allies and family and the wider community to just come and enjoy the day with us.
Okay. Emily.
There's always something you can learn, and this is a great opportunity for you to expand your knowledge and your experiences.
And Steve.
I'm going to hit that point where you said that it's all free. So all of the entertainment, Friday night, Saturday, it's all free. This is going to be very exciting entertainment. And it's really an opportunity for the community to come together, especially coming out of a COVID winter and all that stuff. Whether you identify as queer or not, come. We're going to have a good time together.
June 10, 11, and
Yep.
12.
Yes.
All right.
Downtown
and
Jamestown.
Downtown and on 3rd Street.
On 3rd Street.
So from where to where?
3rd Street from North Main to Pine, and then we'll have North Main blocked off a little bit too, so you can't miss us. If you come right downtown,
All right.
you'll see us.
Folks, thanks for coming by. We've run out of time. I hope I asked all the right questions.
You
You
did.
sure
All
did.
right,
Thank you,
folks.
John.
Thanks for joining us, and we're going to do this all again next Saturday. So check out the Pride Festival coming up in June, and have a great Memorial Day weekend. And think about those that serve our country that aren't with us anymore, and be respectful and do what you got to do. We'll talk to you later. Bye bye.